Social Media House Week 8 Newsletter. Newsletters are one of the most important things that we will be discussing in this whole course. If you listen to nothing else, if you take no other advice, if you get frozen and stopped by all this social media stuff, I really urge you to get your newsletter strategy straight. Why? Newsletters are still a proven way to make money. Email is still the revenue generating champion in your suite of tools. Why is this? It's been proven, and I've mentioned it over and over throughout this course, that people do not go to social media sites such as Facebook or Twitter with their credit cards out. However, people are very used to newsletters that have offerings, and often will pull out their credit cards when they receive an email with a great call to action. But that's not the only reason why you should use email. Social media sites can come and go, hello MySpace and Friendster, but your newsletter list, when you maintain it and keep it relevant and updated, is yours forever. These are names of fans or friends or customers or people who've opted in and want to receive information from you. And this is extremely powerful. One of my favorite visuals around proving email as a champion is the Topspin study that happened a couple of years ago. It shows that 30% of all money that went into artists' pockets originated at an email. I cannot stress how powerful this is. Take a look at this graph here. You'll see there are some other major factors that you need to be considering and that Social Media House helps you with. For example, Google searches accounted for 14% of all sales. You want to make sure you're Googling yourself often so that you know exactly how you're occurring to potential customers. But email is still the dominant piece of this pie chart at 30%. The direct and unmeasurable piece has to do a lot with iTunes, who unfortunately don't share their data. But you want to know that people probably were within the walls of iTunes when they made a purchasing decision that contributed to the direct and unmeasurable. I want you to focus in on the bottom of this pie chart. Twitter, Facebook, and Wikipedia each have 1 and 2%. That's almost nothing. And MySpace was holding tight at 5% when this study came out about 2 years ago. I can promise you that that's probably decimated by now. When thinking about your newsletter strategy, you want to know that age matters. Chadwick, Martin, and Bailey did a study that garnered amazing results. It showed that 86% of all survey respondents reported that they used email to share content, while only 40% reported using Facebook. The preference for email is more pronounced as users get older, and only the youngest age group surveyed between 18 and 24 reversed the trend, saying that they mostly share on Facebook. So if your audience is teenagers or super young 20-somethings, you definitely want to have a mobile and a Facebook strategy, and maybe not concentrate so much on your newsletter strategy. But either way, I still believe and will hold firm to the newsletter being the god of all tools. Most people get stressed out around writing a newsletter. You don't want to upset your client base or your fans once a month. You don't feel you have anything to say. Here are some tools for writing an engaging newsletter and a structure to follow. Follow my 3 Gs: greeting, guts, and getting. There's an action sheet this week that fully outlines it. But basically, start your email newsletter with a greeting, make it personal and fun. Then get into the guts, the body of the newsletter, whatever you're sharing. Maybe it's a story, maybe you're reviewing something, maybe you've got a theme. And then don't forget the last and most important G. It's the getting, or the call to action, also known as the CTA. We'll talk about some effective ones later on in this presentation. It is illegal to use your email and BCC, or worse, CC everyone on your newsletter. You want to have a newsletter provider. Here are 3 that we love. Here are 11 things to consider when sending your newsletter. Number 1, be consistent. Send newsletters once a month. You can even send more frequently if you've got news that you're sending out that's timely and needs to get to your fan base quickly and efficiently. People are most likely to open their emails on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, so these are good times to schedule newsletter blasts. An optimal time to send is 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. I've read some new studies that show that Saturday may lead to higher engagement and open rates. However, Saturdays will also lead to higher unsubscribe rates. You might want to test out sending your newsletter on a Saturday to see how it goes. Number 2, remember the WIIFM, or the What's in it for me. Humanity lives and dies by this. Constantly inside our heads, that question is being asked. So you want to make sure that you provide customers an incentive when they land on your website that answers that question. A free bribe when you get them to sign up to your newsletter is the perfect What's in it for me. Number 3, choose your from field carefully. According to DoubleClick surveys, 60% of your readers will determine whether to open or not based on the from field. You want to make sure to keep it consistent every month in case people have you filtered going to specific boxes. Try using your first name or your first initial and last name rather than a generic email such as newsletter@yourcompany.com. Number 4, keep your subject line to 55 characters or less. Most email programs cut off the subject line after 55 characters. That means you've got to come up with a punchy and interesting 55 characters, that's about 4 to 5 words or less, for your subject. Just having the subject January newsletter ain't gonna cut it. 5, get personal in your greeting and guts. Saying something personal will bring you closer to your fans and potential customers. You can share something like a trip you've recently taken, an observation you've made, a book you've read, a movie you've seen. Anything that feels personal is key. Sharing photos of something you love, a vacation, or a meaningful moment that happened to you in the previous month can also be a great way of catching people up with what's going on. For more information, refer to the 3Gs action sheet. Number 6, shorter is sweeter. Keep your newsletters to 4 to 5 paragraphs in length at most. If you have a lot of content and you want to tell a story or create a long blog post, just add everything you want to your website in your blog and hot link your newsletter. This way, interested people will be driven to your website to continue reading. This is also a great way to get them to begin to respond on your blog as opposed to responding to you via email. Number 7, remember that you don't have to have a show or something to sell to send a newsletter. Often I get asked, what's the point of sending a newsletter? I'm not on the road. I have nothing to sell. People do not like to be sold to. So remember, you can do things that are fun, like invite everyone on your newsletter out for drinks or to go bowling. Invite them to join you to see someone else's show. If you do have upcoming shows, keep your gig list short. Don't take up too much newsletter space going on and on about all your tour dates. Just mention that you have some dates and to link to your website to see the full list. Number 8, give away a free gift or make a special offer. These offers can work really well. For example, you could say, the first 3 people to respond gets a free exclusive MP3 or video. Or the first 3 people gets a special poster at one of your gigs. You can also run a contest for exclusive gear and merch from previous albums and tours. If you've got leftover merch sitting around in your garage, this is a great way to give it away and get people involved. Number 9, It is crucial to include your mailing address and your unsubscribe link in your newsletter. This is why having a newsletter management system is key. By law, you must include your address and an unsubscribe link at the bottom of each of the newsletters. If you're uncomfortable including your home address, and you should be, you can use a P.O. box. Number 10. First names get attention. A great way to get someone's attention is to include his or her first name in the subject line of an email, like, "Hey Melissa, join me in New York," or, "Are you exhausted, Marvin?" Testing shows 50 to 70% increase will happen in response rates if you actually include first names in the subject line. Number 11, HTML is better. Studies show that HTML emails get a better response rate than regular text emails. If you do use text, make sure that all of the lines are under 65 characters. This helps when people are skimming through your newsletter. They won't miss a trick. Here are some great CTAs or call to actions that you can include in the Getting section of your newsletter. I recommend, if you're just shoring up your newsletter strategy and getting into the habit of sending it regularly and consistently, that you don't ask for money for at least the first several emails until you get in the swing of things. Here are some great calls to action to test. Follow me on Twitter, like my Facebook fan page, listen to a new track on SoundCloud, vote for me in a contest, comment on my blog, invite your audience to come to a non-audience event, like to a bar, bowling, etc. Send a survey and have them fill it out, or simply give them a free download. After you've established rapport and you've gotten into the swing of sending regularly and consistently, you can start your CTAs for money. Here are some ideas. Invite them to an upcoming show or to buy some product. Sell a merch item like a hat, a t-shirt, or something even more special. Let them know that you play private events, backyard barbecues, and have them email you if they're interested. Or record personalized songs upon request and sell them as your CTAs. Surveying your fans is an amazing way to understand what it is they want from you. This could be the difference between you making a lot of money or a little money from your fan base. You always want to test the waters before a wide-scale product release. If you've got a great merch idea but you're not sure how it will fly, create just 1 or 2 custom pieces of merch and test it out with a survey or at a show. Learn what excites your fans, which is great if you're planning social media content. Also, a survey can help you plan out tours by identifying where the biggest concentration of your fans are. How to prepare your survey. When you're preparing a survey, consider, what is your product line? Do you only sell CDs? Do you have merch or a fan club? How about a line of products that you can sell to your fans that are totally non-music related? Ask your fans, what are they willing to buy? And what do they want? And how much are they willing to spend? Once you've thought about what you want to survey, choose your survey tool. You can use SurveyMonkey, PollDaddy, or TwitPoll for Twitter, depending on where your fans gather and congregate. Here are 7 tips to getting new fans onto your newsletter list. Refer to your action sheets for a more in-depth dive. Number 1, add your friends and family. Number 2, do a live giveaway or raffle at every show. 3, get mobile. Start a text message list. 4, don't forget your digital sales email addresses. In other words, if you've sold stuff on CD Baby, they archive all of the email addresses for you of your customers. Make sure to log in and grab those email addresses. Those are paying customers. Number 5, list trade with another band. If there's a band who has a fan base that you think matches yours, or a band that you really respect and you're both coming up in the same place, trade lists and say why. See if you can get the fans to cross over. Be careful when you do this and make sure to be transparent about it. Don't just use someone else's list and expect that the fans won't react negatively. But there's great ways of handling this. Number 6, ask for email addresses on Facebook and on Twitter. Only do this after you've created rapport with someone and you're in a full conversation. Just showing up out of nowhere and saying, "Hey, give me your email address," won't fly. Number 7, use NoiseTrade. NoiseTrade is an incredible website that for a small fee will allow you to do a promotion with them where they include some of your music for free and they send it out to their very large list of music fans. The fans that want to try your music provide their email addresses and you get to keep those forever. So to sum it up, your newsletter is where you're going to make money. Do not neglect a newsletter. Get into a groove with it. Make sure to send it regularly and consistently. And make sure to be constantly looking at your open rate. The idea is you want it to improve. If you have any questions on how to perfect your newsletter strategy, or you want to share your newsletter copy with the group, don't forget to post it on the forum.